Yo, what's going on, ball boys and ball girls? Hope you guys are doing super well today. Rocking that baseball together 9 plus us apparel. Head over to their website, 9plusus.com. That's 9 N I or no, 9plusus.com. Super simple. Head over to TikTok, just search at baseball together. I've worked with them, recorded with them, a couple of awesome, fantastic guys. Today on today's Ball Boy Talk, we're going to be into the fantasy dugout once again. Talking about those relievers. Relievers, something tricky. One of the most volatile positions you can have on your roster if you're not careful. So I want to guide you guys in the direction of being careful and being prepared for anything, literally anything that might come your way when it comes to your relievers. Relievers are super tricky. A lot of us, we target those closers because they don't get a ton of opportunities, but when they do, they're getting a saves, which is a normally a head-to-head category. They usually help our ERA, but they can also hurt us at times as well. Um, and sometimes we just kind of shift them and rotate them out as we see one that gets hot. We trade out another one. Um, but really, we focus. I've always focused on just closers and setup man or guys who get like a lot of work. So some of those guys, for example, who get a lot of work, Yusmeiro Petit on the A's gets a lot of work. He's very quality, very solid. Drew Pomeranz on the Padres, another guy that gets a lot of work. He's very solid. Um, you're going to want to target guys who are openers for teams. Guys who might have a starting pitcher, relief pitcher eligibility, who are like a six man, who spot start or do relief, like for example Julio Urias on the Dodgers was one of those guys. Some guys like that you might want to target if that's your strategy. Personally, that's not mine. I like to look at closers and just those high end relievers who I know are going to make a significant impact and be in a lot of games. So yeah, I would target guys like Pomeranz and Yusmeiro Petit to be able to put on my team somewhere uh, and plug them in. But I don't recommend carrying relievers on your bench. I would find some that you like, keep with them, stick with them, and then make sure you keep all those extra spots open for starters to be able to ship those guys in so you can win innings and wins and things like that. But you might have to sacrifice ERA every now and then if that's your strategy, and pay real close attention to it. All right, so we're gonna talk about my top 15 relievers. Number one, Aroldis Chapman, Yankees, best reliever in baseball. He's going to give you 34 plus saves, 90 plus strikeouts, a sub 3 ERA, and a sub 1.15 WHIP. Um, I relievers are tricky as to where to put them. Um, so it's again, it's one of those things that's kind of just your strategy. I like to start targeting my relievers in around the fifth round if I'm happy with my current other 4 or 5 picks. Uh, then I might look a reliever's way, especially if I can get a really high upside reliever like Chapman, or even Kenley Jansen, Liam Hendricks, who are my top three. All guys are going to have very similar numbers: 30 plus saves, 85 plus strikeouts, sub 3 ERA, sub 1.15 WHIPs. Um, all guys who are going to get their opportunities regularly. Anytime there's an opportunity, they'll do it, they'll deliver. So a lot of these guys are who you're going to want to target with that earlier pick. Then you drop down to, Josh Hader, Taylor Rogers. Again, a couple other guys who are going to get you 25 plus saves easy, possibly over that 30 range, 75, if not like Hader, probably like 100 plus strikeouts. Sub 3 ERA, sub 1.20 WHIPs. Again, some guys who you might look at like the sixth, seventh round, kind of depending on where you're at in your draft. And your league format. If you already have keepers, I personally like to keep a reliever every year because that gives me someone I know is going to be really solid, and they're usually really cheap to keep. Again, depending on your format. Let's see. Some above average relievers, guys you just missed out on. Regardless, it doesn't matter. These guys are going to be good for you. Devin Williams, the NL Rookie of the Year and Reliever of the Year. He was just fantastic last season, but I don't think the save opportunities are going to be there. But he's one of those guys that has such tremendous upside that he'll get the occasional save. He's going to get a lot of work, carry a sub 2.5 ERA, 80 plus strikeouts, a really low whip, get plenty of work, and guys, he's probably going to end up top five at that position for relievers. Um, and someone you might be able to get after the sixth, seventh, eighth round even. It's really hard for me to rank relievers because they're so inconsistent and they're so unpredictable. And everyone has a guy or two that they really, really like. But my guy who I really like is Devin Williams. Next is Edwin Diaz coming in at number 7. Yes, I am an Edwin Diaz believer. I've always loved Edwin Diaz, especially when he was true to the blue um, with the Seattle Mariners. That trade broke my heart. But the Mets have revamped that bullpen, brought in new pieces, brought in excellent setup options for him, gave him a much better rotation ahead of him to lock down games, a much better offense to put him in the position to come in to lock down those games with more than a one run lead, possibly 2 or 3. So Diaz is in a really good position to come out and rebound. I'm looking at like 30 plus saves, 100 plus strikeouts because he mows them down. A sub 2.9 ERA and a sub 1.05 WHIP. So again, really interesting. Probably 8th, 9th, 10 round, somewhere in there is probably where you're looking at Diaz. Brad Hand, Nationals. When I wrote this, he was unsigned, but I still think he's gonna notch 20 plus saves, 80 plus strikeouts, sub 3.7 ERA, and a sub 1.20 WHIP. New team usually leads a lot of players to drop in their value. Hand is one of those guys who's going to drop in value probably down to like the 9th or 10th round even, if not later. So definitely look at Hand, picking him up a little bit later. The Nationals are going to be really good this season. I'm telling you right now. Next, Nick Anderson. He's one of Cash's pieces. He's one of Kevin Cash's with the Rays bullpen pieces who he absolutely loves. But Kevin Cash can use his bullpen better than everyone. However, I think Anderson's the leader in saves coming into the season. Probably looking like 20-ish plus saves, 85 plus strikeouts, a sub 3.15 ERA. I think he's going to fall, 12th, 13th round, somewhere down there. I think he could be just really, really good for your team if he falls that low. Some other guys who are above average who, probably are going to be after that 12th round. Tyler Duffy. He's going to have a few saves, but he's one of those guys who's going to come on and get a lot of work. James Karnashak with the Indians. He's a great two-way piece, so another one of those guys who's going to get a lot of work. Diego Castillo, another one of those Kevin Cash's guys in the bullpen who he can leverage and just use in great situation. He's a fantastic reliever. Aaron Bummer. He's pitching right in front of Liam Hendricks. When you got a guy like Hendricks and you have a great defense behind you in Chicago, it gives you a lot of peace of mind as a pitcher to be able to just go out there and deliver. And then lastly, Alex Colomé with the Twins. I love the signing here with the Twins. I love the upside for Colomé. He does carry a little bit higher of an ERA usually, but I think that the Twins, that's going to help them pitching in front of that great defense that they're going to have this season. Really excited about Colomé, and I think another one of those guys with the change of scenery kind of drops his value a little bit because you're not sure what he's going to be. You have an idea, but you're not 100%, so you kind of let him fall. A few other guys who are going to be absolutely just fine for your team, who you're probably going to be able to get toward the end or throughout the draft, just kind of whenever you want, pick them when you want them. Kirby Yates, Blue Jays. Archie Bradley, Ken Giles, Hector Neris, Ian Kennedy, Craig Kimbrell, Rafael Iglesias, Brandon Workman, Hansel Robles, Joe Jimenez, Sean Doolittle, Jose Leclerc, and Keone Kela. All these guys, some of them are that second option in the pen who are going to get a lot of work in those high leverage situations, who are going to be relied upon just as much as the closer behind them. Definitely a lot of guys to keep an eye on. So that pretty much wraps us up. For relievers, we're going to be getting into the rest of the position players. We still got second base, first base, and catchers to get into. So we're probably looking at like another 1 or 2 videos for the fantasy dugout. But that's all right because we're going to have more fantasy content come out throughout the season. Guys who I'm targeting, guys who I targeted, guys who I dropped. I'll have you guys keeping up with my fantasy baseball teams as well. Getting your suggestions in and out in the comments and over on the TikTok. Um, and just giving me who you're thinking, who you're looking at, where you're looking at. But guys, biggest rule, biggest rule of any draft, before you go into your draft, tell yourself, I will not overspend on a player I like just because their name is cool. Uh, for example, if Aroldis Chapman, if you're in an auction league, for example, Aroldis Chapman is there in the third. Don't waste all that money on Aroldis Chapman when you can go and get yourself an Archie Bradley for $1 or two. Don't waste your money. Don't waste it. Don't waste your picks. Let these guys fall. Look at your relievers probably. After you build most of your starters and most of your offense. Don't waste a pick on a reliever when you can go and get a great offensive a third outfielder who's going to be really good and hit for a high average because you need a supplement for a Josh Donaldson or Miguel Sano on your team. Don't make those sacrifices. Be smart. Don't overspend. Don't spend just because the 6 picks ahead of mine I'll take relievers. That means they just passed on 6 players, position players, or a starter who could be better, more beneficial for your team. So make sure you play to your team's strength. Don't go with best player on the board at that time because that strategy, I've tried it, doesn't work. Don't go with guys who you just like, I know him, his name's good. Doesn't mean he's good. Do yourself that favor. And yeah, that's what I got for you guys today. Those are your tips and your tricks. This is your inside take with Ballboy Blog, Fantasy Dugout. Thanks for being here with me, ball boys and ball girls. And before you head out, make sure you go down to the description, click that link, go to the Coldest Water Bottle 2017, 18, 19 top rated water bottle by Forbes, Business Insider, and Men's Health. 36 hours of cold, high quality product, insulated. I've been in love with it since I got it. 10% off. Use code BALLBOY10 at checkout or click the link. Go through that. You won't regret it.